Hi, I'm Narina,
I'm Amita.
and welcome to a very special episode of Our Roots. Today we have two inspiring innovators with us, Omar and Dylan from FARAFENA. FARAFENA is a social enterprise that is focused on direct trade, bringing us the most incredible superfoods like pheno, and they even have new tiger nut butters, which I'm really excited to try. So welcome, guys, and we're so excited to have you here today.
So nice to meet you because Narina's been talking a lot about you guys. So I want to know where the love of food came from.
Thank you. Yeah, it's a pleasure to be here. Thank you so much for asking us to be a part of this. I'm not sure how inspiring we are, but we hope to share our message. So, for love of food, I have to say it started when I was a little child, and I've been eating ever since. I'm kidding. I make jokes though that I'm kind of like Brad Pitt in Ocean's 11 in that in every scene you're eating. So that's me. Like anytime you see me, I'm usually eating. Yeah. Um, but I think what's interesting about our business, and I won't go on too long, is that neither Omar and I come from the food background. I think maybe similar to you, if I'm not mistaken. Um, and our love for food and the food industry doesn't come per se from experience, but it comes from the desire to want to provide a vehicle for the impact that we hope to have in the world. So our drive came originally from the desire to be able to provide a platform for the smallholder farmers in Mali, and not so much because we were super crazy about making food, although we became passionate down the road.
Yeah, that is very similar to there's a lot of I think there's a lot of great synergy between our two businesses. And you touched on it a little bit just now, why you started FARAFENA, but go into a little bit more detail why you started this company.
Once again, so thank you for including us in this. It's really a great pleasure, a privilege to be connected to you guys. At first, the idea came from really from a desire to want to do something to contribute to the development of Africa. At a very young age, I was very inspired by my parents, the type of work they did with smallholder farmers, but also in community development. Like I was saying, my father is a retired hydrologist with UNICEF, and my mom is a retired midwife. So it was always community development. How do we help women? How do we help children? How do we have clean water for communities? So my father did work for the UN for 23 years. And, every single day coming from home, passionate about what he's doing, the type of impact they have in the communities. So growing up, that was really inspirational for me. So that's why after I finished school, I wanted to do something because I was not passionate with, my background. I wanted to do something different to be more impactful. So that's when I reached out to my family to figure out how I could contribute. And that's when the idea of FARAFENA came, really to work with farmers, especially women farmers in Africa, and help them sell their products on the global market. So like Dylan was saying, this did not come for love of food, but rather from the love of wanting to do something for the people in Africa to elevate themselves and the communities out of poverty through these amazing food products that people have been eating in Africa for thousands of years.
So true, and it's something that rather than a charity or development model, this is it's a model that really allows for people to self-direct. What do you want to do in your community? What projects do you want to? Rather than somebody coming in and saying, "We're going to build you a school and a well here and here." It's here's the income that you need to have these. To invest in your own lives and to have that control rather than it being a top-down approach that we're going to control your community and how you do things.
Exactly.
And we know best, yeah.
Yeah.
So coming from very different directions, like your father, I worked with QSO International and saw things that were done well and things that were not done well, and I saw lots of bad international development. But tell us about your sourcing model because it's so similar to Nalido's. And why did you decide to source this way?
Well, the reason we decided to do it this way is because I mean, my family has so we have a lot of land. The first idea was, oh, how about we just go and grow these things ourselves and sell it here? But then, like, no, I mean, there are farmers here who've been growing this for generations.
Mhm.
So instead of becoming a monopoly, how about we create a partnership with these farmers, um, help them use their land, grow these products, and we buy from them. And by doing so, we get rid of all the middlemen.
Mhm.
Because currently, right now, what happens in Africa, there are so many different middlemen between the farmers and the end consumers, right? And the farmers get very little for the crops.
Mhm.
So we decided to just get rid of all the middlemen, buy directly from the farmers at a really good price for them to make like really good living for them and their families, and bring that directly to Canada. And the reason to that is because we feel like instead of like you were saying, like instead of just giving people money, you have to teach somebody to fish rather than giving them a fish. Because it's kind of like investing in them in a way. They love farming, but they just have not been able to benefit from farming.
Yeah.
And we know there's a market here in North America to be able to, get these products, but at the same time, teaching them that, and also emphasizing on the fact that being a farmer is not a bad thing, right? It's just that the way it's been for generations has been bad practices. So we are going to change the narrative here. You are actually the hardest working people,
Mhm.
and you are the most important people. So for that reason, we want to make sure that you are part of the conversation versus us telling you what to do. We collaborate. We're on the same page. You are not our farmers per se. You are our partners.
Mhm.
So you just kind of just change the language, making them, and some of our, like you saw our packaging, they have the women at the center of it. Because we want the world to know their names. We want the world to know who they are.
Mhm.
Not be ashamed and not be embarrassed of who we are. So just showcasing their faces for the world to know them. We just feel like our consumers have to be part of the journey. So that's why we decided to do our business this way.
Speaking our language.
I have to say, when farmers come to sell their product to us, we make appointments. They come to the factory and we buy it. They say, "Thank you, Miss Amita. Thank you so much." And I say, "Thank you. No, it's you that we should be thanking." And then it just becomes this lovely love fest. And I have to tell you, it's one of the most wonderful parts of our work, and I'm sure yours too.
I completely agree with that. I completely agree.
Now, there's a lot of great things about working the way that our companies do, but I'd love to know what are some of the challenges that you faced in this business, and then after, tell us your proudest entrepreneurial moment so far.
Sure, yeah, I can help answer that. So I think, yeah, getting more into the technical aspect of the food industry and business. One thing that we've found challenging is that as amazing as the products that we have to offer are, they're still relatively unknown in many parts of the world. We have, I would say, right now, 3 to 4 different products, some of which are better known than others. But in general, like I was saying, we've had to really educate our consumers on what these products are, why they're good, what you do with them. So that's been a big learning, and I think we may have underestimated how important that is, right? To be able to have a successful product line. And so I think out of that came the learning that perhaps a way to make these products more accessible in terms of understanding what they are is to make products that people already know from these ingredients. So as opposed to maybe selling our fonio grain flour, we instead put together a fonio flour pancake mix. So, someone is already familiar with a pancake mix, they know how to cook it, and therefore they get to use our great grain in a format that they're accustomed to. So, ready-to-eat products, I think, is something that we would have chose to do sooner if we were able to. And like you're saying, tiger nut butter is a new product that we're going to be launching. So as opposed to just selling, the little tiger nuts themselves, which are not nuts, but they're called tiger nuts, we're going to be making a butter into it. And so, I think that was a big learning for us. In terms of proud moments, I don't know if a specific moment is standing out right now, but I think what we are very proud of is just the journey. So, we have a couple of friends here. Omar and I are high school friends. We've always wanted to work together in some capacity. So we've known each other for 20 years since both of us have been in Canada. And just thinking of just like you guys and all small businesses, of those meetings in someone's living room, those late nights packing stuff, and just thinking about the journey that we've taken from those early stages where you're doing everything by yourself and on a shoestring budget to being available nationwide in hundreds of stores. So I think that journey is kind of what thank you, as we're proud of. And sorry, most importantly, I should mention that as a result of that success to a certain extent with business, we are able to really have an impact back home in Mali, where we are what we're trying to do. So as a result of being able to sell these products here, we're able to buy more from the smallholder partners that we have in Mali. Mm-hmm. So I think that is really what brings us the most joy and makes us the proudest.
So true. But there is nothing like, I have to say, in the food industry, like going into like a large grocery store chain, like a Save-On or something, and then like seeing your product on the shelf, you're like,
yeah,
it's really exciting, right?
Absolutely, yeah. Can I tell a funny thing? So we have baobab fruit powder, mm-hmm. and baobab is a famous tree in Africa. And the other day we were listening to the radio, and I think Beyonce's Black Parade song came on, and she makes reference to the baobab tree. And my kids heard baobab, and they said, "You're famous," not knowing that we didn't.
Beyonce.
Yeah, we didn't invent baobab, but of course we did.
Now you got to tag her in everything that you do with her song.
That's a good idea. So, as we went through our journey, we got some good advice and some really not good advice. So I want to know what has been the best advice you've received from somebody in the food industry. Did they say don't do it?
I would say, for me personally, I mean, this is not just in the food industry, but the best advice I think I've got, I received was always put your family first. To me, that at first when I heard it, I'm like, oh, okay, yeah, family is important. But then in the hardest moment, you realize that at the end of the day, family will always be there. And that is, the most important thing for me. Money is not, money comes and goes. Businesses come and go, right? But your family will always be there. Your kids, your partner, just that should be, your motivator all the time. And that's where sometimes when I'm stressed about work, when I'm stressed about everything, I just sit down and just look at it. You know what? I have to be thankful that I have this family because, I feel like I'm still young. Businesses can come and go. I can come up with something else, right? But you don't want to do this at the expense of your family. So, I just took that, very personal, and with everything we're going through right now globally, and all this stuff happening, people are realizing more. And the past 5 months, we've spent more time with our family than we have in a very long time, right?
Yeah.
So we got to appreciate a lot of all these little things. So for me personally, I try to not always be about business because in the past, early on when we started FARAFENA for the first 3-4 years, I was just head deep, I didn't see anything else, just wanted to make it work. But now I'm just like, you know what? At the end of the day, I have to make sure that I put my family first. Businesses will always come, and I have to put my family first. So that's for me personally.
Mhm.
I'm going to ask you a couple more questions because now I'm fascinated. So, Farafena, what does that mean, and where did you get that name from?
Farafina means Africa. It means Africa in Bambara. So Bambara is aside from French, Bambara is the official language of Mali.
Okay.
So it's something that when I think about what we are doing as a company, so Farafina, our goal is to be able to buy agricultural products from smallholder farmers from the entire continent and help them sell it on the global market. So that
So many
represents who we are.
amazing agricultural products on that continent. Like,
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Well, name or your products. What do you make? So that the viewers know where to look for things and what are they. Go ahead, give me your list.
Thank you. I'll take that one. Thank you for the opportunity. Fonio grain. I would say at the moment our main product and kind of what we do the best. And so fonio is an ancient grain from West Africa, and it's very small. It's almost as small as a millet, and it's kind of like a hybrid between I would say like a couscous, which of course is not a grain, and quinoa. So you can prepare it like a side dish as an alternative to quinoa or brown rice. But with a little bit more water, you can also make it into a porridge. So it's quite versatile. It's quite mild in flavor, so it'll just take on the different flavors that you're cooking with. So fonio is really what we're proud of, and I think the awareness of fonio is growing in the last year definitely. So we think it's going to break soon. So from the fonio grain, we mill it into a flour. So that's a gluten-free flour that people can use for baking and all your different needs. Like I was alluding to earlier, we're going to be bringing back a gluten-free pancake mix that's made out of 100% fonio flour and just a couple more ingredients. It's a pretty clean label. Mm-hmm. We also have baobab fruit powder. So if you've ever seen those magnificent trees in Africa that have been around in some cases for thousands of years, it's usually a baobab tree, and they have these little pods that kind of look like coconuts. And when you crack them open, there's these little pockets of pulp that basically mince into a powder. And it's kind of like a tangy, citrusy flavor that it has, this powder, and it's extremely rich in potassium and vitamin C, so it's a great addition to things like smoothies. So we sell that. We also have moringa leaf powder. A lot of people know moringa as a very nutritious greeny leaf, and also something that's great to add to either smoothies or maybe like savory things like a salad dressing. So those are the products we have at the moment. And like you said, Narina, earlier, we have a new product coming out, which we're super happy about. It's called tiger nut butter. And so the tiger nut, which is actually a tuber and sounds like and looks like a nut, is not a nut. However, we've milled it down and mixed it with some ingredients to create a butter. So similar to like an almond butter or an alternative to peanut butter. We have this really nice tasting tiger nut butter in both roasted flavor and cocoa flavor. So it's something you can use for breakfast or whatever you want to add it to. And yeah, you can find this in Loblaw stores nationwide, Whole Foods, online. So that's. I don't know if you wanted to add anything more, Omar.
No, I think that sums it up. Yeah.
Yeah, incredible. My mom, but you got a new super fan over here.
Okay, so what I really like about this is that these are kind of unique, and I see the challenges of bringing something new to the marketplace, but it's very Mali. It's very cool that way, that this is really special, and I hope that the growers in Mali don't sell it all to you guys and not themselves, right?
Yes. Yeah, that's one thing that we've always committed to. So part of our mandate is to make sure we always leave at least 20% for the local consumption, because we've learned from what happened in Bolivia and Peru, where farmers could not afford to buy quinoa. So since the inception of the company, we decided to work with the farmers not to purchase everything from them, to leave 20% for the local consumption.
Well, we might have to ask you guys back for a part 2. Everybody who's watching, if you want to hear more about FARAFENA, or if you want us to kind of get into the nitty gritty a bit more about sourcing, my mom's from Uganda as well. I'm sure we've got enough stories and cool stuff to share. So stay tuned. And again, thank you both so much for coming on today and sharing with everybody.
Thank you very much for having us.
Thank you.
It's been a pleasure. Thank you very much, guys. We appreciate it.
Thanks. All
Thank
right.
you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.